This video brought to you by Exams A to Z, empowering through education.
Hello everyone, we have Gautam Sagar with us today. So he is a 2017 CGL ranker. He has been selected as an excise inspector. Now Gautam came to me when he is preparing for Tier 2. When he came to me, he has only 2 months for his Tier 2 exam. Still he's managed to get excise inspector in 2017. Now we'll know how Gautam prepared for the exam and what are his strategies for the exam, how he prepared, actually managed all the 4 sections. So Gautam, share your strategy with us.
Hi, sir. Yeah, hi guys. So, like sir said, I'm CGL 2017. I got selected into the Central Excise Department as Excise Inspector. So before that, I gave an attempt in CGL 2016 also. But the mistake that I did there was I never went to any guide or any coaching institute. Now, what is the disadvantage of not going to coaching institute? I realized with 2016 CGL, because when the cutoff was at 513, I got 511 marks. And just within 2 months, I lost a job there. Not only that, even this 511 marks, I could have gotten into assistant audit officer only if I knew that assistant audit officer, that was the first year they have introduced through CGL exam. This I did not get to know because I never bothered to know what the exam is. I only saw the
2016,
syllabus.
basically you don't have any idea.
No idea about the exam. All I saw was only the syllabus. I saw the syllabus and I was like, okay, I can do this syllabus. It's very easy. Before that, my background is I was preparing for civil services. Because of some issues in the family, some health issues and all, I had to take a break from civil services preparation.
So 2016, you lost your exam with 2 marks.
Yes. So, and also I lost an opportunity to be selected as assistant audit officer because it was very easy that year. If I just sat in the exam hall that day, I would have gotten the job. But though I applied for the exam, while applying for the exam, I applied for AO as well. But I did not sit for the exam, thinking the center is very far. So, and I thought many accounts background students will give the exam. So how will I compete with them? All these kinds of misconceptions I had. So going to an institute would have cleared those misconceptions and I would have got a better guidance. So when I came to 2017, I told myself that I should not repeat my mistake. Also, I noticed that in maths, I was not doing to the best of my ability, though I was doing good in English. So I thought I really need a guide for mathematics. So when I went for 2017 CGL, again, Tier 1, I did it on my own almost. And when I fetched a good score of around 170 marks, then I thought I should not let this edge which I got go waste. So that is when I thought I should maximize my score in Tier 2. And I approached Uma sir, and since then I just had 2 months, though they kept postponing it again and again, and we ultimately got around 5 months for the preparation. So for mathematics, sir gave a holistic support there, and whenever we had doubts, we used to WhatsApp and also get it in the middle of the night also. So that's how we could make it in a short time.
So yeah, Gautam, how actually you prepared for your exam? So how many hours you spent in detail section wise? Tier 1, you got 170 marks in 2017, right? Yeah. So can you elaborate on that?
Yeah. So when to start with, CGL these days the competition has gone really high. We are seeing candidates like from Triple IT, NITs also they are applying because the craze for it has gone up, and accordingly the competition is going up and the toughness of the paper is going up. So now we have to see that around 15 lakhs people are applying, out of which at least 50% sit for the exam. So out of those 6-7 lakhs people who give the exam along with us, at least 2 lakhs people are sincere people, a rough estimate, of which at least 10% you can think that they are applying only for CGL, preparing only for CGL. So we should know that we are competing against such people. So when I gave CGL 17, I told myself that I'm not going to travel in 2 boards at once. So I gave my entire time for CGL. I stopped preparing for civils that year, and I gave my full time for it. Now, if you ask me how many hours per day, I personally used to give on an average 4 to 5 hours a day. But it works out differently for different people. I will not recommend
Yeah.
a particular
So
time.
how do you actually used to spend these 4 to 5 hours a day? And what are the subjects
4
that
to
you?
5 hours. Yes. So this exam demands understanding of the pattern of the exam. So two things are demanded. One, your preparation. Two, how to attempt the exam. Now, if you focus entirely on acquiring knowledge, maths, in all the topics, you got all the best techniques from sir, you practiced well, you have every shortcut and you know every problem how to solve. You know how English, every technique you know and every model you know. Similar with reasoning, but that is not enough. How to attempt the exam is very important because, like I said, if given 2 hours or 3 hours time, all of us with just 1 month preparation, we can just crack the exam. But the key and the secret to this exam is 1 hour duration. So in 60 minutes, 100 questions, 25 each in each section. Now this is a very careful balancing act. If you ask me what is the difference between tier 1 and tier 2, tier 1, this is the important thing that you should find a balance between 4 sections. 60 minutes, if you divide to 4 equal parts, it is 15 minutes each. But 15 minutes is never enough to finish maths paper. Similarly, 15 minutes is too much time for general awareness paper. So you should carefully get the balance between these 4 sections, which you will get with thorough practice by writing mocks and all. So
So
yeah,
especially for GS. So when you look into
yeah.
GS, so how much time you used to spend for GS when you are writing
For
mocks?
GS, as I kept writing mocks, as I told you, 2016 I already gave an attempt. So I was kind of already clear how much time I should give. So when I used to write mocks also, I used to set myself a limit of 5 to 6 minutes at the max. Within five, because general awareness, all the hard work you should do should be before the exam.
Yeah.
Whatever you prepare, once you sit in the hall, you read a question, you either know it or you don't know it. Don't give too much time to think about a particular question there, because if it is maths, even if you don't know, you can try 1 or 2 steps you can put, but in general awareness you can't do that. You either know it or you don't know it. So for each question hardly it takes 10 to 15 seconds. So that is what you should do in general awareness.
So by looking at the
Now
question, whether you know it or not, that's all.
yes, that's all. So when it comes to english,
And actually,
I
for
used to
GS strategy, what do you have followed? So now, because
for
in
G,
2018 and 19, they're asking even current affairs. What do you suggest?
yes sir, yeah, exactly. So these days the weightage for current affairs has gone up very high. Earlier they used to ask a lot of static content. Now at least 8 to 10 questions are being asked in current affairs linked questions. So what you should do for that is, now even I had this fear with current affairs that how much ever I prepare, it is so vague, I don't know from where they'll ask. I might prepare questions on awards and literature, but they might ask me on sports, who won this particular trophy, or so questions can be very wide ranging. So what do we do for that? One, I would recommend every single day throughout your until the day you gave up your preparation, read newspaper every single day. Don't spend too much time. Spend only 40 minutes time on newspaper. That will help you in two ways. One, identify all the new words and make a note of it. That will help you for vocabulary.
Okay.
Two, your language will improve, which will also help in scoring in English. Three is current affairs. Current affairs, now read those sections like specifically international news, then news related to sports, sport events, and we'll have Friday, we'll have a literature edition also. If you are interested, you can read that. But that is a general thing I'm telling you. Specifically for the exam, you can go through current affair modules. There are so many educators, tutors online. Each one has his own channel. And what I found from my preparation is there is not much difference between what each channel provides. They provide you modules like PDFs also. So pick one of them, read two or follow two or three, and you yourself will understand which is the best among those three. Pick one and stick to it, and continuously every month read those modules. These modules, what they do is they would have read the entire week's newspapers and made a gist of it. So it will save time for you. Just read those questions and do all the previous year questions and also mocks. So this will help you cover current affairs to a large extent.
Yeah. So generally,
Apart,
why I asked you this question is because most of the people think that they may cover this GS session in the last 7 days or the last 10 days. So do you think this
yeah,
approach is actually suitable for this
I
exam?
think that, yeah, that is the biggest blunder I feel, because general awareness and current affairs, can't be done in like, even if you say
Even
30 days also, that's a foolish act. Rather, you should make it a part of your daily preparation. That is how it works. And when it comes to the static content, I followed a Lucent general knowledge book, which is like this is how it looks. This is the old edition though, but doesn't matter because static content is always static. So when it comes to history or chemistry or physics, geography, economy, polity, pick one book. I picked this book, and again, here static content there is no much difference. Any publisher will almost do the same job. All you have to do is pick a good book and stick to it. The most important part is I can give you a small technique here. You first give a read. Suppose you pick up history, just read from page 1 to the last page of history. Just give a casual read. Don't at all try to memorize it or remember anything. Just give a read. Then go back to previous year questions. Just solve previous year questions. Spend some time, like 3 or 4 days time on that. Then you come back, give a second read. Now you will know which are the important points. You yourself will know. You can underline them. And after that, at least 2 or 3 more readings. So on the whole, 4 to 5 readings is important. That will help us memorize. Otherwise, just reading current affairs also, even current affairs, I told you to go through modules online. That also, the most important mistake we do is we just read once. We just read once and we'll never go back to that particular thing.
Yeah.
And that we will not remember them. In exam, we'll feel, yeah, I definitely read this, but I don't remember. So it's better that you revise them.
You just make a habit and read daily.
Yeah, that is what I did for general awareness and for general awareness.
So what do you have done
And
for reasoning?
For reasoning, I used to allocate a time of 17 minutes, 7 into 18 minutes at the max. Depends on the toughness of the paper. If the paper is very easy, it would take only 16 minutes. If it is tough, I'll spend 2 minutes more. So for reasoning, usually there are fixed type of models. It's not that every year they're picking new type of questions or something. It's usually 10 to 12 models and they will play with these models on. So repeated practice and solving previous year questions will help, and I think should not take more than 15 days for you to get a grip on your reasoning. And you should make sure that you will get anywhere between 45 to 50 marks at least in reasoning. That's a scoring thing. Within 17 or 18 minutes, you can get it.
Whereas, so how much time? It's like 17 to 18 minutes. You're saying
17 to 18 minutes is what I allocated. Coupled with general awareness, another 6 minutes. So that used to take me around 23 minutes for these two things, which used to leave me like around 12 minutes for English. So 12 minutes for English. So 17 plus 6, 23 plus 12. So that used to take me to 35 minutes. So remaining is just 25 minutes for math. So math on a good day, if the paper is kind of easy, then it will take at least 24-25 minutes. If it is tough, then it will easily take 29-30 minutes.
Again, it depends. If it is very easy, you can actually do it in 20 minutes. If it is tough, even if you spend for 30 minutes, you can't actually
it won't finish. Yeah. So, but one thing is for sure is, whatever is the case, whatever is the shift, one thing that is for sure is maths is the toughest, which demands maximum time. So we have to make sure that other sections should be given only enough time, we should not consume extra time. So when it comes to English, for vocab, I would say it's again a daily thing you should do. Spend at least half an hour, 40 minutes every single day preparing vocab. For vocab, again, I can recommend books like KD Publications, Neetu Singh, Volume 1, you can do, or you can do SP Bakshi. And most importantly, if you feel you are weak in English, go for Word Power Made Easy. That should be a first book. Then these are of course essential, KD Publications and also SP Bakshi. These are very important books. Vocab is a thing we should do every single day. Now, if you ask me, vocab itself will cover around 10 questions out of 25 questions, because he'll ask you antonyms, synonyms, correct spellings, one-word substitutes, all these things. And along with vocab, the other thing we should do every day is idioms. Idioms, there are so many, since there will be so many, right, sir? So we can't do it again in 10 days or 15 days. So it's better that we keep revising. Yeah, because we have to revise also. It's not just covering from first page to last page. So that is important. And practice. English, the more you practice, the better you will get at.
So how many
So
mocks you have given before your exam?
full length mocks, I think I gave around 10 to 12 full length mocks I gave. And sectional, I gave so many, sir. As
Sectional
long as I felt uncomfortable in a particular section, I used to take those tests until I felt that I came to a level in that, confident in that section.
All right.
That's
What
how
you
I
have
used to
done
do
after every mocks? Do you used to revise it, or do you
it.
used to
Now,
improve?
what we do after the mock is very important. Like after we take a mock, I used to sit for, because the mock, full length mock is 1 hour, I used to sit for at least 2 hours on analyzing the mock. Because where I went wrong, I used to keep a target that after I attempt a mock, when I go to next mock, I should at least improve by 1 mark. At least. In the beginning stages, we can improve by like 15 marks, 10 marks also. But as we become better at our mocks, I used to see that at least 1 mark I'm better than previous mock, unless the mock is like very tough. So that is one thing I follow. Analyzing the mock is very important. Where did we go wrong? Because if last time you went wrong in particular section and you improved on it, this time you should not go wrong in your previous section, which is already strong. We should keep that continuing. That is one thing I did. And for maths also, there is something which we should do every single day. Sir used to tell me you should be very strong at calculations, which will be strong only if you are good at tables, multiplications, squares, square roots, divisibility rules. Because if we see a particular number, we should know if it goes in 17 or if it goes in 23. That is where that will save a lot of time. And like sir, now because TCS is conducting and we are seeing more calculative papers these days.
Yeah.
So
Nowadays we are seeing like more calculative than more tough questions. People say
yeah,
calculations are tough, but yeah, it's all about calculation, not the logic.
yeah.
So
And
you know the
personally,
question, you
for
know
me,
the pattern.
calculations are tough. For me, I feel calculations slow me a lot in the
Yeah.
solving the question. So I think that you should. That is also a thing which you can't do in last 10 days or something. That should be done every single day. So if you ask me, I'm telling you so many things to do every single day. Yes, for maths, half an hour. For English, half an hour, like vocab and those things. General awareness, half an hour. Current affairs, half an hour. So 2 hours should be your everyday routine. Apart from that, whatever time you can allocate, you will allocate to specific preparation.
Yeah.
So that is one thing. And
What
um,
about tier 3? After tier 2, what you have done for tier 3? Have you actually prepared for tier 3? Because I remember that you're very strong in English, so you
yeah,
are so confident when you're writing tier 3. So
yeah, I was confident, but at the same time, I was very particular that I should not grow overconfident and lose my marks in tier 3
yeah,
because that will take away the edge, whatever I got in tier 1. So tier 1 plus tier 2, I got around 497.5. So I thought I should make the maximum amount of tier 3 so that I can get a better job. So tier 3 also, I used to practice a lot, like not a lot, but yeah, I used to practice essay writing because within the word limit we have to write. We can't take extra words and
yeah.
extra lines. Yeah,
So you have to be careful when you're writing it. So you should not take more words, because
more
even that,
words. Yeah, and I mean, in that limited amount of words, we have to express all our thoughts in a linear fashion, like one
yeah.
after another. They should be structured. So that is important. That comes with practice. So that
So
also used to practice a lot. But yeah, about attempting the exams, I used to feel that writing a lot of mocks will help you evolve your own technique towards how to attempt the. That should not be taught by a third person. You should know it yourself. So you better write a lot of mocks. When I realized that maths is taking a lot of time, so I should reduce. That means I should practice more. Sir used to give me a lot of shortcuts, sir, which otherwise, I had to read three. When I prepared for CGL16, I used to follow 3 or 4 books for maths. So I used to spend a lot of time and get those shortcuts. But when I joined Sir, I used to be like surprised looking at the shortcuts being given because he has spent a lot of like you have spent a lot of
yeah,
time and
basically
study.
what happens with the books is whoever writes it, okay, so they write it in such a manner that the person who reads it can understand. So basically
Yeah,
shortcuts, when you explain it, you'll understand, but you can't actually read the shortcuts from the book. That's a problem with the
yeah,
books.
Yeah, we
because
can't memorize it otherwise.
yeah, so you can't just write just two steps in the book and then you say that's the answer. That's not possible generally to express your shortcuts in the book, most of the
Yeah,
shortcuts. So that is the
yeah,
reason when person to person shortcuts is better than a book
yeah.
actually
And one more
prepared.
thing, what I felt is that also helped me save a lot of time without having to go into a lot of books. Major shortcuts, I used to take those shortcuts and start preparing
Yeah,
directly from the exercise sheets. So that way it helps. And also every year the pattern changes a bit. So those things we usually, lose sight of. So those things coaching, they help us.
yeah.
They tell us that these kind of problems are coming these days, so focus on them. Those things help,
So
and
after
time
writing,
management is most important.
after actually giving your time for complete 2017, so is there any advice that okay that you wish to give you to our student, how they actually where you must have gone wrong? So
uh,
where do you
so
feel that I would have done it better? Is there any point that I would have done it better or something like
yeah,
that?
definitely, because mathematics, despite my best efforts, I felt that tired to maths. They said it came
Yeah,
a little tough, but nevertheless there are people who scored 185, 195, right? So
yeah,
despite that I could get only 145, so which I felt is a huge setback, because there
yeah,
was a scope of improving 40 marks over there. I felt
yes.
very bad about it indeed. So English I got 186.5. So that is the kind of score we can get.
So where you
And
must have
I
gone wrong?
felt uh,
So maybe
in
in
the hindsight,
calculations.
yes, definitely. Calculations is always remained my weak point. Though I worked on it, that was not sufficient apparently. So I should have worked more on it. And also memorizing some of the techniques was also not easy, because
Yeah.
while solving the paper in the exam stressful environment, it was difficult to recall some of the shortcut techniques. So that also used to consume time. Yeah, apart from that, there are the silly mistakes which I did, which
Yeah.
costed me, I guess. Yeah,
Yeah. So writing
and
more
more
marks and
practice.
yeah, more practice. I
Yeah,
remember that you have very less time and still you managed to
yeah,
get it. So that's actually very interesting. So yeah.
yeah.
So if
And
you want to summarize
I'd
complete
like to
exam.
say about the time management, sir. In the exam, time management is the most important thing. So, for example, like I
This
told,
entire
there
exam
are,
is actually about the time management. If
yeah,
you
yeah, it is as much about your knowledge. The time management is as much important, if not less. So, if not more. So, if you ask me about time management, see, I can summarize it this way: there are 100 questions and 60 minutes, which leaves zero point 0.6 minutes on average for each question, which is 36 seconds. But like I told you, general awareness, 25 questions, you can do it in 5 minutes if you have really practiced well and prepared well, which is like 12 seconds for each question, right? Because 1 minute, 5 questions. So that is the kind of time you can save there. And when it comes to English also, why I'm stressing so much on vocab is just like general awareness. You know the meaning, you just put it. You don't think about it. So that again can be done in under 10 seconds. So just 2 minutes can cover entire vocab questions, which are around 10 questions. So remaining questions also like sentence corrections and other things, they are also with practice can be done faster. Now we can have let's have a look at the direct and indirect speech example. Here, one thing I can tell you is certain techniques, rules in English, grammar are also important, which you have to memorize. Like for example, here, look at this example. In direct speech, there is a rule that when you convert into indirect speech, you should never change the part of speech. Now, what is part of speech? If you remember, noun, pronoun, adverb, verb, these are parts of speech. There are 8 parts of speech. Now, look at this example. May you live long and prosper, said the old lady to her son. Now, the options, if you observe, the old lady blessed her son with long life and wished him prosperity. You observe options A, B, and D. There, I have underlined. They are life and prosperity used everywhere. Now, life and prosperity are nouns, whereas live and prosper are verbs. So, if you observe, only option C has live and prosper verbs. So, straight away, reading the question, you can go for option C and just move on. So, this saves you a lot of time. If you are not aware of this rule, then you keep reading each option. That will take 30 seconds extra. So that is how you can
basically
save time.
you're saying that you're saying that you have to eliminate the options also. You should know
That's
how
all.
to actually
Our
attempt.
only motive in the exam hall is to identify the right option. If sir sits next to you and tells B is the right option, would you not just mark and move on? Will you see whether you have successfully solved it or not? So that is not the agenda. The motive is just identify the right option by hook or crook. So you need to know these kind of techniques which save you a lot of time, because every minute that you see, if you save 10 seconds in a question, and if you save like that for 20 questions, you're saving 200 seconds, right? Which is equivalent to almost how many minutes? 4 minutes or 3 minutes time. So these 3 minutes can let you, let us say if you're doing general awareness in the last, then these 3 minutes can let you attempt at least 10 questions, which makes a whole lot of difference whether you are selected to a job or not, or even if you make the cut to next level or not. So time management is very, very crucial.
This entire exam is based on the time management, because if you look at the pattern and the questions, everything, if you give it to a normal person also, he can also basically solve it. So it is not like this exam is tough. So but you have to do it within the time. That's where the entire show is.
Correct. So, and also coaching, I think it helps in maintaining the discipline also, because we don't regularly prepare. Otherwise, we will give a gap of 4 days or 1 week, and we never know.
So consistency and patience is very, very important for this exam.
Because 2017 CGL Tier 2, you remember, sir, it was postponed 3 times. Every time by 1 month. So, and we wrote match paper twice actually.
Yes, I remember that. So, anything else you want to share, Gautam?
That's also
That's very wonderful to talk to you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much for your tips, Gautam.
Thank
you.
All the best.